Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Safe House, brought to you by the Safe House Initiative. I'm Jeff Edwards, co chair of the Safe House Initiative, and your host for today's podcast. Last episode, Tawana's guest, Brandy Vargas, helped us understand a new and relatively necessary position to help translate some of the technical aspects that are inherent to cyber insurance policies. It's technical communications. Found that enlightening to say the least, Tawana, and really appreciate the fact you brought her on to the Safe House.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandy was great and gave a lot of really good insight last week.
Yeah. So what exciting thing do you have for us today?
Well, Jeff, today we have Toni Sukhan, who is going to talk to us about the cyber claims process and how that gets handled from the insurance carrier side. Hi, Toni. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thanks for having me. Hello.
Toni, do you mind starting by introducing yourself to our audience and tell us what you do and how uh, your journey how you went through your journey to get to where you are today with being a cyber claims examiner.
Absolutely. So I have been in claims for over 20 years. Like every other claims adjuster, I've handled auto claims, general liability, product liability, and pretty much the whole gambit. I was recently drawn to cyber because of its fast-paced environment. I love technology, and there's always something new to learn. Every claim is different, and it's always an opportunity to learn about new threat actors and stay on top of cutting edge technology. So my
Well,
primary Oh, I'm sorry.
no,
Go
I thought
ahead.
you were done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So my primary role is to review coverage and guide businesses through what could be the most chaotic aftermath of a cyber attack. So whether that's ransomware, data breaches, or business email compromises. I work closely with insureds or business owners, their legal team, IT forensic experts, and sometimes forensic accountants from the moment the insured discovers suspicious activity to resolution.
Toni, I have to agree with you that the fast pace of these cyber claims is really appealing. And, I don't know if you feel like this, but I legitimately feel like we're actually helping people, as we handle these cases.
Absolutely.
Tony, do you mind outlining for us the basic steps of how you approach handling a cyber claim?
Yes, of course, of course. So the first step is immediate notification. As soon as an insured is suspicious of an event, we would hope that they would notify their carrier or insurance professional immediately. Timing is critical. An insured would need to fight the urge to correspond with the threat actor directly
Yes.
or engage their own IT professional. And I stress this because some policies prohibit payments that an insured would make prior to approval from the claims professional. Meaning, if an insured engaged their own IT professional before reporting the claim, some policy would restrict us from reimbursing the insured. So after the matter is reported, we would sign breach coach. We would assign legal counsel to help coordinate a response. So we use the term breach coach, breach counsel synonymously. So after we have a breach coach engaged, we would engage incident response or forensic IT. We would bring on a qualified forensic investigator to determine what happened, what was accessed, and what's the best way to contain the damage. It's always important to know the point of entry or how the threat actor gained access to the system for lots of reasons, but primarily so that we can shore up the system, so it doesn't happen again. And after we engage incident response, now we're on to communication and containment. That's when breach counsel comes back in. They help ensure that the insured is compliant with government regulations. There's sometimes a need for a notification. Sometimes we need to notify the affected parties. And in some states, media response is needed. And that's why we engage competent, qualified breach counsels because they know what's needed based on the state the breach or the security event occurred. Finally, recovery and restoration. That's whether we're restoring data, negotiating a ransom, whatever it takes to get the business up and running as fast as possible. And in some cases, that's a business interruption claim. Sometimes businesses suffer income loss for being down for a period of time. We assist with the calculation and we engage forensic accountants to assist with the calculations as well. So I like to think of it as maybe an emergency room triage. First, we stabilize, excuse me. First, we stabilize, then we restore, and then we reconcile.
That's a really good analogy, Tony. I'd never thought of it that way. Tony, we never recommend paying a ransom in a ransomware attack if we don't have to. Can you talk about the factors that go into making that decision as to whether or not to pay a ransom?
Sure, absolutely. And I agree with you, Tawana, 100%. Paying a ransom is the absolute last resort. It's not an easy decision. Sometimes insureds are eager to pay a ransom, and they're not always necessary. If the insured has viable backups, um, data wasn't exfiltrated, and the system can be restored quickly without significant downtime, we won't recommend paying a ransom at all. However, if the system is completely down, backups are compromised, business continuity is on the line, then we might consider making a ransom payment, especially if the cost of the downtime outweighs the ransom amount.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, assuming we've walked through this process with all the relevant stakeholders and you've reached a decision that there's no other viable option other than to pay a ransom. I mean, obviously, you're not putting, unmarked bills in a briefcase and meeting somebody at a bus stop to make the ransom payment here. Can you talk about what goes into that process of making a ransom payment?
Absolutely. You don't want me negotiating with the threat actor your ransom payment. So we engage qualified partners, IT forensic partners, to communicate with the threat actors. And when they communicate with the threat actors, they're communicating purporting to be the insured or the business owner.
Mhm.
So it works better that way because we don't always want the threat actor to know that the insured or business owner has insurance. Sometimes that drives up the ransom demand if they know insurance is involved. So the negotiator is purporting to be a business owner, maybe the receptionist, maybe the CEO, but never a IT forensic representative. So the first step would be to identify the variant or the malware that has attacked the system. I can't imagine being a victim of a ransomware attack and being overly concerned with the name of the variant, but the US government is. The US government has a list of sanctioned entities that we are restricted to pay. The list includes maybe funding terrorism or money launderers or just entities that threaten national security. So if the variant is on that list, we can't issue ransom payment in that situation. So our IT partners, they cross-check the variant with the US sanction list. So if we get the all clear, they're not sanctioned, they're not money launderers, we can go forward with paying the ransom. But that's only after we have proof of life. After we cross-check the sanction list with the variant and we determine that the variant is not on the list, then we go forward and request proof of life. Since we're dealing with criminals, we do want to make sure they keep up their end of the bargain. You find out that your data has been encrypted, you read a README file, it's encrypted, you no longer have access to any of your documents necessary to conduct your day-to-day operations. So now we give the threat actor a sample of the encrypted data and ask them to unencrypt it and return it back to us. We do that so we know they do, in fact, have a decryption key and can decrypt the data. So once we know, okay, they have the capability to unencrypt the files, we go forward and ask for proof of exfiltration. Now, that's just proof that the threat actor did indeed remove documents from your server or from your system. So once they prove that they did exfiltrate certain files, we're in a better position and we feel confident in making the payment. That way we can move forward with the Bitcoin payment. We do that with a crypto wallet. We send that securely to the threat actor. Once the threat actor receives it, then they send us the decryption key and we decrypt everything and the business is back up and running.
That's definitely a long process there for sure.
It is, but we
Uh,
do want to make sure that it's done properly and safely. We don't want to rush into a payment that's not necessary. At the end of the day, we want our insured, we want to make the best decision for our insured and get them up and running as fast as possible.
exactly. And it's important too to make sure that you're actually going to get what you pay for, right?
Exactly.
Well, Jeff, is there anything that you wanted to ask Toni today?
So, Toni, one of the things that we always ask our guests is, if there's one thing that our audience could do today that they can make a step in the right direction to become more cyber secure or lay the groundwork for a good claim in the future if necessary, what would that one thing be?
Well, it's hard to just pinpoint one thing, but I would definitely suggest making sure your backups are viable and you
Hmm.
back up your data frequently.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
Cyber,
mean,
completely agree with that. Yep,
mhm,
100%, Toni. That's a good one.
yeah, some research I was doing to prepare for our conversation. Almost 70% of ransomware attacks last year targeted businesses with 500 or less employees. So small businesses are definitely under attack. So it's not a question of if it'll happen, it's when it'll happen.
Tawana, we keep hearing that same thing. It's not if, it's when, right?
Absolutely. And I tell clients the same thing all the time as well.
Well, Toni, I tell you, so happy that you joined us. Your insights are going to help a lot of people, and you're welcome to come back and join us anytime.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope to be helpful.
You have been, and Tawana,
Yes.
another very helpful guest. Now, next week, what do we have in store?
Well, Jeff, once we've made it through the claim process, the next big concern is litigation. So, next week, we're going to be talking with one of my partners here at the firm, Chris Wood, who's going to be talking with us about class action data breach litigation.
Fascinating. Well, Tawana, this has been a great series so far, and looking forward to talking to Chris next week. And so, until then, that's our podcast for today. I'm Jeff Edwards for the Safe House Initiative. Thanks for joining us, and remember, be safe, be resilient, and be kind to each other. For more information about the Safe House Initiative, please use your mobile device to scan the QR code on the screen or send us an email at info@safehouseinitiative.org or visit us on our website, safehouseinitiative.org. We look forward to hearing from you.